Hello.
I'm here.
Harry, oh, what a blessing. Oh my gosh. Talk about Mr. Tubishvat. Oh my God, there he is. I love you, brother.
That's right. Hug a tree.
Yes. Yeah, I'll give you a big hug and you're welcome to pipe in. Another Tubishvat expert. Oh my God, Beth and Rose. Oh my God, Sutherland is in the house too. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Sutherland, Oregon, the great state of Oregon. I'm back in your home country, Beth.
Are you? It's late.
It's not as late as like Europe, you know, but.
True.
Miriam, nice to see you. All right, welcome everybody.
Entering in, settling down, opening up, gathering round. Shalom Aleichem, Aleichem Shalom. Entering in, settling down, opening up, gathering round. Shalom Aleichem, Aleichem Shalom. Entering in, settling down, opening up, gathering round. Shalom Aleichem, Aleichem Shalom. Entering in, settling down, opening up, gathering round. Shalom Aleichem, Aleichem Shalom. Entering in, settling down, opening up, gathering round. Shalom Aleichem, Aleichem Shalom. Entering in, settling down, opening up, gathering round. Shalom Aleichem, Aleichem Shalom. Entering in, settling down, opening up, gathering round. Shalom Aleichem, Aleichem Shalom. Yarararam, yarararam. Shalom Aleichem, Aleichem Shalom. Ya'alo Sadai Bechol Asher Bo. Ya'alo Sadai, ay, 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 ay. Ya'alo Sadai Bechol Asher Bo. Ya'alo Sadai, ay, 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 ay. Az Yeranenu Kol Atzeyar, Az Yeranenu Kol Atzeyar, Az Yeranenu Kol Atzeyar, Az Yeranenu Kol Atzeyar. Let the fields rejoice and all within them. Let the fields rejoice. Ay, 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 ay. Let the fields rejoice. fields rejoice. Aye, 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 the trees of the forest will shout for joy. The trees of the forest will shout for joy. The trees of the forest will shout for joy. The trees of the forest will shout for joy. Ya'alo sadai v'chol asher bo. Ya'alo sadai. Ay, 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 ay. Ya'alo sadai v'chol asher bo. Ya'alo sadai. Ay, 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 ay. The trees of the forest will shout for joy. The trees of the forest will shout for joy. The trees of the forest will shout for joy. The trees of the forest will shout for joy. Yalla, yallam, yadadadadam, entering in, gathering round, settling in, yalai, yalai.
Lorelei.
Shalom Aleichem, everybody. Welcome, Chag Sameach. So happy to have you all with us today. I want to welcome you. This is a joint production of the Aquarian Minyan with so many other organizations that we know and love. Knesset haLev, Or Hagan, Derech HaAretz, Outdoor Yeshiva, and the JeWitch collective, the JeWitch collective. Excuse me. This is re-entering tree time, a Tikkun Olam Tubishvat Seder. We've gathered here today under the full moon of the month of Chodesh Shevat, the moon opposite the sun, which is what a full moon is. Full moon in Leo, sun in Aquarius. Aquarius is, of course, the zodiac sign of the Jewish people. And we're here to celebrate the alignment of the energies that bring us back to the earth and our original creation. So without any further ado, I will turn it over to our hosts tonight, Jonathan Seidel and Jonathan Furst. And I'll also be posting things in the chat, like where you can send a donation to help support this program and all the other wonderful programming that we're doing. So you can be watching for that. I just want to mention a few people who are here with us tonight. Really important to know this. Again, Rabbi Jonathan Seidel is our fearless leader, along with Maggid Jonathan Furst. Our special guest, Rabbi Leah Novick, it's her Hebrew birthday right now, right this very minute. She's turning 89 years old.
And I know her.
Baruch Hashem, Ad Mea V'Esrim, in good health with Simcha and Nachas. We have Kohenet Keshira haLev Fife with us. Rabbi David Seidenberg will be here. Reba Connell, who I love very much and look forward to seeing after a very long time. Miriam Schwartz-Kanani, Judith Kate Friedman, and Dr. Ami Goodman and friends. And there may even be more people who have been added at the last minute that I don't even know.
Yes, about. Surprise
guest.
Yes,
I guess you're all going to have to find out about that. So Jonathan, why don't you start this wonderful process?
Thank you, dear Lorelei. Bruchim habayim l'kulam. Welcome, everybody. What a pleasure. What an honor to work with Jonathan the Younger tonight, and all of you. I'm Jonathan the Elder. Well, I'm not that old. My mother turns 90 tomorrow. It's a big evening for me and for Mom. I'm here in New Jersey to celebrate my mother's 90th and Leia's 89th. my mom and my teacher, two Shekhinah women in my life. And I want to thank Lorelei for doing a fabulous job for the Aquarian Minyan. We wouldn't be here today, my dear sister and friend. And I love you, and I appreciate all your work for the Minyan. So welcome. I just wanted to say a bracha with you. We're going to have a historical overview later, I'll give you, but we've got a lot of great songs and teachings about all four worlds, or five worlds if you're in the Aquarian Minyan. You know, we have a fifth world. It's the world of the Grateful Dead. It's the world of Jerry. It's the world of you, all the other folks that took us to another dimension. And the Aquarian Minyan is famous for creating other worlds of dimension and blessing too. So who knows, maybe this is a 5-world Seder. I want to share a screen and read the bracha that our brother wrote, my colleague and friend David Seidenberg translated, but you can all, let's see, can I share screen? You got to make me, I hope I can share. No. I got to do this.
You are a co-host. You should be able to share.
I'd like to share. I want to share. It's kindergarten. Nope. Yeah. It's weird. I don't know. Well, it's under the, I'll read it. Jeez. Okay.
You're a co-host, Jonathan. You should be able to share.
I'm trying. Well, I'm going to read it. And here's how it goes. I'm just going to start. Ana ha'el hoshia v'hayotzer borei v'hamatzil olamot elyonim uvitzuratam uvitzionam barata dugamatan al haaretz mitachat kulang b'hochma asita elyonim lamala tachtonim lamata lechaber et ha'ohel lihiyot echad. Please God, who makes and forms, ha'oseh v'hayotzer, and creates and emanates the higher worlds, in whose form and pattern you created their model on the earth below, made all of them with wisdom higher, above, and lower, to join together, to tend to become one. You made trees and grasses bloom from the ground in the shape and pattern of what is above, to make known to the children of Adam the wisdom and discernment in them, to reach what is hidden. And I'll skip to the bottom. May the might and majesty of the blessings we say tonight for eating fruits become lights in the wellspring of blessing. And the righteous one, the tzaddik of the cosmic tree, life of the worlds, may the rainbow appear, joyful and beautified with her colors. And may there the flow of desire and mercy flow over us, for pardoning and forgiving our sins and errors. May the whole return now to his or her original strength, and may his bow reside in strength. For you are the one who will bless the righteous one, Yah. Desire will crown her like a rampart. May all the sparks scattered by our hands or by the hands of our ancestors or by the sin of the first human against the fruit of the tree return now to be included in the majestic light of the tree of life. Then, Az Yorananu Atzei Ya'ar, that the trees of the forest will sing out, and the tree of the field will raise a branch and make fruit day by day. And then you shall take from the first of all the fruits of the ground to bring the first fruit offering, Bikurim, before the altar of Yud He Vav He with praise and thanks. Amen. Okay. There we go. So that's the bracha. I will try to share again. The bracha this is about 4 worlds of existence, and that we reenact through bracha, through blessing, we activate through eating, the act of eating, which Jonathan will go over with you. We activate the shefa from above through this magical act of eating and consumption and consciousness. This conscious eating, this holy eating that we do. So I hope you all have your plates. So John, are you going to go over the plates? Do you all have your 4 worlds plates? Nuts, figs, dates, palms, all the 7 species of the land. Do you all have your plates or something approximating a plate or a spiritual plate? Okay. If you don't, you can go pull stuff out. We'll go over those. So 4 worlds, and I'll go over a little about the history of that, but the 4 worlds arose in the 16th, 17th century as a way of explaining reality. And it's found in the Zohar, but it's more rarefied in the Zohar and it gets concretized in the 16th century. The 4 worlds. And what are the 4 worlds, folks? Is everybody unmute? Tell me the 4 worlds. Starting with the most phenomenological world of right here. What are the 4 worlds? Asiya, I just met a world named Asiya. I can touch and feel, you know how it feels. Asiya, right? Making, doing, phenomenology. What's the next world? Second world, up in reality, that we function in a lot. Next world of formation.
Yetzirah.
Yetzirah, the next world. Yetzirah, the world of formation mentioned in the Talmud, the book that the rabbis looked into to make a golem or a calf or anything. Yetzirah, Hilchot Yetzirah. Yetzirah, to fashion, to form. Third world, up from that, according to the Kabbalists. What's the third world? Reb Zalman said that we were a four-world minyan when he founded us, right, Barry? Four
Right.
worlds, right? We were a four-world minyan. What's the third world up in reality? Anybody?
Berea.
Berea. Translate.
Berea.
Berea. Berea is the world of mindfulness, meditation, transcendence, but still in this world through objects of consciousness. Okay, it's not pure consciousness yet, but is the world of meditation, mindfulness, attention, silence. Okay. Vipassana, if I could borrow a word, is Berea. It also means creation. What's the fourth world? Go up one. What's the fourth world? Atzilut. Ayin, Sadi, Yud, Lamed, Vav, Taf. Atzilut. Translate, anybody? What's Atzilut? Tough.
Stop. The Ein Sof.
Emanation.
Hmm?
Emanation.
What is emanation? The world of pure emanation, what the Hindus would call beyond consciousness and beyond thought, beyond an object of meditation. It's like samadhi, right? Pure thought thinking itself. Samadhi. Okay. If anybody has another translation for Atzilut, it's a more complex, it's a world of nothingness. It's a world of beyond, emptying, beyond thought. So you've got the four worlds.
When you
I'm
lean
gonna-
back, your voice leans back too.
Okay, I will move forward.
World of being.
The world of, right, the world of pure being. Good. Good. So that's Asiya, Yetzirah, Berea, Atzilut. Okay. Going back to Ein Sof in the Tree of Life. Any more commentaries on this as we go through the Seder? All right, Jonathan.
So as Rabbi Jonathan mentioned in the initial prayer, this is about celebrating the new year for trees, and we do that through our mind and through our senses, through our body, through our sense of time. And we're going to eat different fruits that correspond to the different worlds. We're going to drink in a kind of a mystical way that corresponds to the travel through the world. But a really important point of the Seder is also Tikkun Olam, a repair for the sins that we have made upon the world that are being revisited now. The native people of this land, the land where I am currently speaking from of the Ohlone people, their history stretches back 100 generations or more. Families can point back 100 generations. Think about yourself. How many generations can you go back, right? Their history goes back at least 10,000 years, and it took Western settlers only a few hundred. And who stewarded the land better, given where we are right now? So there are a lot of projects going around the world right now to rematriate the land. And what that means to land back, what that means is in so many ways, and hopefully within, may it be this generation, but within soon times, the people who really know how to steward each land will be able to do that. And each of us in our way can help hasten that Tikkun Olam. And one of the smallest ways, like the very minimal way we can do that, is to know the name of the people of the land that we're on. So I invite you to put in the chat your name, and you can put in your gender pronoun too, the land, the name of the people in the land that you are coming from, and a favorite native tree from that land that you have a connection. And if you know the name of that tree in the language of the people of the land, you're doing really well. You're doing better than, I would say, just about any of your neighbors. So I encourage you to go ahead and put that in the chat. And here in the East Bay, there's the Securite Land Trust, which is a wonderful way to give back. And a lot of the Jewish people, we came to this land escaping horrible genocides. We know what genocide is, what it is to have genocide in recent memory, like Native Americans do. And today is International Holocaust Remembrance Day. And a connection to the trees that most people don't know is that thousands of Jews fled to the forests and swamps and lived in what were known as family camps, and armed Jews who were fighting back from the Nazis hid in the forest, and they would control actually miles of territory. The Belsky brothers controlled a huge swath of the forest, as did, sorry, I just researched a band, and the Germans and their collaborators would not come into the forest because they would be ambushed, and it was known that those areas were controlled by Jews. In this way, thousands of Jews survived, and one Jewish partisan, I believe it was Walter Marx, said, "Without the trees, we would not have survived. We wouldn't have made it. We wouldn't have cover. We wouldn't have shelter. We wouldn't have anything that we need." So today, in honor of Holocaust Remembrance Day, I'm going to light a candle, and Jonathan is going to lead us in Kaddish. If people want to put the name of someone who perished in the Holocaust or perished of trauma due to the Holocaust in the chat, you are welcome to do that as well. So I'm lighting this candle on Holocaust Remembrance Day, and we'll be invited to rise in body and or spirit. Jonathan, would you like to lead that? And then we're going to go into the Seder. It's important that our joy is grounded in reality. So connecting to the ancestors in this way. Jonathan? You're muted.
You need to unmute.
Yes, in memory of all our ancestors that were slaughtered in the Shoah in this room, most of us. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba. V'yalmad divrei chirutei v'yamlik malchutei. V'hayichon v'yamichon v'chayei dekol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala v'zman kariv v'yimru Amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mivarach le'alam almei almaya. Yitbarak v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh. Yitadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudisha b'richu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata. Tishbechata v'nechamata da'amiran v'yalma v'yimru Amen. Yehei slama Rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yal kol yoshvei tevel v'yimru Amen. Aseh shalom b'mramav v'yaseh shalom aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'kol yoshvei tevel v'yimru Amen. May their memories be a blessing.
Always.
Oh. That's part of the Tikkun, folks, is to say Kaddish in a way. Yes, yes. And to some of the work that I did with Holocaust survivors back in the day, is I did work taking them into the woods. They found a lot of healing in the woods. There are studies that said Shoah survivors actually were healed through eco-spiritual, eco-psychological work, really powerful work to sing with them in the woods. So back in the 70s and 80s, I worked with survivors by taking them into natural places. It was very healing, very helpful. And Jonathan, I want to honor your work with the partisans, the remaining partisans. Many of my relatives fled into the forest to fight the Nazis. And my cousins, and Jonathan does good work with that population and has taught us about that. Thank you, Jonathan. Your other hat.
You're welcome. And I just want to say that as people who have, I was just in this moment saying Kaddish for the names of those who we know and who we don't know, of the Jewish people. And, not knowing the names of so many of the people who perished on this land where so many Jews received safety. I think it's really important that we start to come into solidarity for the people who, because they suffered, we get to have safety, relative safety. Okay. So I just want to pass that on. It's important. It's especially poignant today.
So as part of our spiritual alchemy in Judaism and around the world, we are beginning to chant and sing about the basics of reality and nature in a new way. I'd like to invite my colleague Keshira to lead us as we start off into our journey through the worlds to ground us in however she sees fit in her beautiful voice and spirit as she's come to join us from Pittsburgh. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. I'll invite you to just breathe deeply as we align in the four worlds. And if you feel to sing at home, I'll ask that you make sure that you're muted so that we don't get sound interference. And the words are in the chat. Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Earth, Asiya, water, Yetzirah, air, Bria, fire, Atzilut. Earth, Asiya, water, Yetzirah, air, Bria, fire, Atzilut. Nurture your body, heal your heart, experience your breath, open to spirit. Nurture your body, heal your heart, experience your breath, and open to spirit. Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Nurture your body, heal your heart, experience your breath, and open to spirit.
Amen. Thank you, Kohenet Keshira. Wonderful, wonderful. So, folks who just came, if you haven't yet, if you want to take a moment and go get your fruit, we're going to have a fruit with an inedible shell, like this pine nut or these bay nuts, something with a pit inside, like a date, a fruit that you can consume whole, like these service berries, which aren't native to this area, but just a little bit north over in where Reb Jonathan is in Oakland, and something fragrant like these sumac berries, powdered sumac. And Ami's gonna, and you'll also want a bottle of something white. You could have white wine or sparkling apple juice, red wine, cherry juice, whatever that is. We're gonna be using that in a little bit. And Ami's gonna sing a song while folks are getting what they want. And this is gonna be like a cooking show. I'm gonna take these bay nuts I harvested, put them in the oven. Hopefully they'll be roasted by the end. You can all have some.
And this is to follow on the heels of Keshira's beautiful chant, a song that also talks of the four elements, the four primal elements of the world, and the four primal elements within each of us. Each of us is a microcosmos and of the greater cosmos. Adama, Asiya, Shamayim, Bria, Ha'esh, Atzilut, and Mayim, Yetzirah. A little out of order, but I think we all know this. Adama v'shamayim, chom ha'esh, tzlil ha'mayim, ani margish zot begufi, beruchi v'nishmati. Mother Earth, Father Heaven, heat of fire, sounds of water, I can feel it in my body, in my spirit, in my soul. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya.
I'm going to interrupt just one moment. I love you. I love you. And I'm just going to give a little bit of feedback. We were talking about Indigenous solidarity. If we could go lie, lie, lie instead of hey ya, hey ya, we'd really
Absolutely.
appreciate it. Thank you.
La 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 la. Hi la 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 la. La 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Adama v'shamayim, chom ha'esh, צליל המים, אני מרגיש זאת בגופי, ברוחי ונשמתי. Mother Earth, Father Heaven, heat of fire, sound of water, we can feel it in our bodies, in our spirits, in our soul. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Hi la la la. Yai la la la. Hi la 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 la.
Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Rabbi Jonathan, would you take us into the first world, Asiya?
Yes, Asiya, Asiya. So the Greeks called it the phenomenal and the noumenal, the world into itself beyond perception, and the phenomenal where we can see, we can perceive. It's a world where we have strong boundaries, where we have shells, where we have boundaries around our essence. And it also means, in this case, a hard internal. So let's pull out something from our plate of Asiya. It's the world where we need boundaries, strong boundaries. But what do you have? Unmute. Tell me what you have to exemplify Asiya. Asiya means making or doing, but what do you have? Anybody? You don't have to have anything.
Nuts.
Nuts.
Walnuts.
Nuts. Strong boundaries. The rabbis used the symbols of nuts in the Kabbalah as a very primal image, called the Seder HaEgos. There's a whole circle of Kabbalists that use the nut as a symbol of the Klippa and also Sfirot. It's used very, very commonly because our ancestors had a lot of nuts. And I don't know if they're good for you. I assume sometimes they are, depends on your chemistry, but nuts were used as a tremendous symbol in the Chochmat HaEgos tradition among the Tosafists, the Rhineland mystics. They used the nut as a wonderful indication of the world of Asiya and other worlds too. So get out a nut, and we are going to say a bracha. Do you have a kavana for that, Jonathan?
Yes, actually, Reba Connell was going to give a meditation on it. And
Reba, yes.
And so just before Reba goes, and we'll go ahead and put it in this place, it's a great place to do it. I just want to say that part of what we're doing, this entering into tree time, I want to give just a little context for that. There is a beautiful pine tree up in the East Bay Hills, a lone pine that's near the Peace Grove, and was hiking up there, wanting to get a feeling like, what is the kavana? What is the intention? What are we doing on this Tubishvat? And I sat down, and you sit by this tree and you can feel it. You can just feel this presence, deep, dark, slow, old. And the message that came to me as I sat under the tree and watched its limbs that had been shaped over years, probably centuries, the message that came was slow down. Slow down. Humanity, the damage that we are causing, so much of it is because We are so fast in our minds and our spirits and our bodies and our action. This time of COVID feels like the earth saying, like, last chance, slow down, and yet our communications go at nearly the speed of light. And so if we were in person, we could feel each other's resonance and come into this time. We're trying to get a little bit of an experience of tree time, that slow, deep pulse of the earth. Since we are electronic, I encourage you, don't necessarily look at the screen. Look around you, get the full view. Maybe if you can keep the screen as part of your vision and around. And we're going to do meditations on each of the nuts and the fruits. And so we're going to start with Reba, if you are there, leading us through a meditation on the first piece, the part with a shell or a hard inedible rind. Reba, are you there?
I am. You want me to do this before Judith, Kate, and before the Kiddush?
Yes.
Okay. All right. In the time before time, Creatrix wanted to fall in love with us. Tzimtzum, in pouring her dazzling light into the world, her cosmic art project smashed on the rocks of reality. When we say a blessing or practice mindfulness, we practice liberation theology out loud. The brokenness of our world is revealed in the pandemics of racism and food injustice. We move through the four worlds, bringing our intentions to food justice, eating the sexy parts of plants. When we bring our awareness to inner and outer wisdom, we unite our understanding of the science of foods that have been shown to bring a positive mood and help us with cognitive health as we age, with our inner wisdom and our inner teacher. Nuts have been shown to be associated with positive mood and positive memory, but for some people, they are harmful. We are so individual. The plant medicines in fruits can brighten mood, and each person finds their own balance. We invite you to notice how these foods affect your mood in the moment and how they continue to affect your sleep and your energy tomorrow. Make some notes and see what you notice. Okay, picking up your fruit with an edible center and a peel that must be discarded. And just noticing, seeing it as if you're just arriving here from outer space. You don't know if this is edible and you've never seen it before. Just taking a moment to see the colors, the shapes. Imagining yourself to be a scientist or a little child. If those metaphors don't work for you, just let them fade into the background and just being with this being in front of you. If you like closing your eyes and feeling with your hand, you can leave your eyes open. But if you don't see or you don't see well, this might be a primary sense door, just feeling the weight. And you don't have to just feel with your hand. You can feel the sensations by coming into touching this with any part of you. And listening, bringing it to the ear, seeing what you hear, like listening for the voice of the tree. And if you don't hear sound, you might tap it or rub it or scratch it and see if you notice a sound. So if this is being opened, you might open it now and see what changes as it opens. See what is smelled, and when smelling happens, what happens in the mouth, what happens in the belly, and what happens in the mind. And then going ahead and continuing to opening until you can get out a piece that might want to be part of your mouth. And repeating after me, Brucha Atya, Eloheinu Ruach HaOlam, Boret, Pri, HaAretz. And then letting it rest whole on the tongue. Seeing what happens in the mouth, seeing what happens in the stomach, seeing what happens in the mind. And then biting, letting it open, and seeing what you notice.
Yummy, thank you. So in all the worlds, we can use the metaphor of sprouting. Reshit Smichat Geulatenu. And that's what we're doing here. We're sprouting, we're taking the seeds, freedom, democracy, Tikkun, sprouting them. Reshit Smichat Geulatenu. Redemption, Tikkun. Thank you, Reba. That was great.
And we're honored to have Judith Kate Friedman here. Such a pleasure to have this amazing singer-songwriter, healer, intellectual, body-centered, mind-centered, heart-centered, spirit-centered person. Please, Judith Kate.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here. It's very good to see many of you I've known for years, but not seen you recently. Just about to have my 15th anniversary of moving up here to Port Townsend, Washington, Coast Salish territory. So Jonathan asked me to bring forward this song that comes from the study of Psalm 1 by elders who were then residing at the Jewish home in San Francisco, which is now called the Campus for Jewish Living in San Francisco. And they, at that time, were the average age of 88. So they were studying together with myself and Rabbi Shelley Martyr and composed the music and words to this beautiful song. And if you would like to catch on with the nigun, please do so with your mute on, but just allow the beauty of all the slowing down to be in your heart and body as we... Oh, and Jonathan has the words for us. Wonderful. And are you hearing me all right? I think I might be a little far from the mic. Here we go. Ashrei ha'ish asher lo halach ba'atzat rishaim ki yodea Adonai derech tzadikim. A tree is planted in the soil of God, its leaves like prophecies of hope and love, its limbs reach up like wings toward heaven, its roots grow strong with Adonai, they thrive. Abundant fragrance of fruits and flowers reflected in the rippling stream creates eternal praise in earthly bowers. Ke'etz shatul al page mayim. Ay, ay, lai, lai, la, lai, la, lai, lai, lai. Yai, la, lai, la, lai, la, lai, lai, lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai.
Thank you. And so, Judith, Kate, if you would play that in the background while everybody can nigun to themselves, that last nigun. Maybe you'll lead us in the nigun, but slowly, slowly. Feel the ripples of that song entering your body. Come into the part of you that is descended from great, great ancestors who lived and died in the treetops. Slow, ancient ages, we evolved with the trees growing at the speed of life. The speed of life. And sometimes the speed of life, like Scotch broom, pop, 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 the pods bursting, is fast and quick. But animals know that when you're not in eat or be eaten or mating mode or territory mode, we know that the time in between is to be spent slow at that pace of a bud that forms throughout the winter. It's just the idea of formation. And then this time of year, as the sap starts to rise from underground, the bud begins to grow. That's going to become a twig or maybe a flower. But if you open it now, there is nothing to see. The flower doesn't exist until time has let itself form and open. And our lives, no matter where we are, young, elder, we're still opening, we're still flowering, and new buds are emerging. How sweet, how fragrant the world would be if our essence was allowed to bloom and we saw the blooms of everyone's essence. So take a moment, breathe inside, shine your essence out through the buds that are open, send strength to the buds that are developing. Slowly, slowly, as if your eyes were buds just emerging from the winter, open your eyes and take a moment to look at this garden of flowers, at these tree-like humans who are blossoming. You might even page through and just look in the eyes of these wonderful beings. And now that we're in line with the trees and the tree time, Judith, Kate, would you bring us in line with the tree bodies?
Thank you. Yes. And in whatever way you feel like a tree, you might be a little sapling and just sitting in a tiny space, or you might be a big old 3,000-year-old olive tree, well rooted and dancing in many wild combinations of space and negative space, positive space. This is a chant from Betsy Rose. I think altered over time the lyrics a little bit because I'm not sure if the fruit was in hers, but for Tubishvat, the fruit is in ours. Jonathan, did you have that one to share on screen? Beautiful. And let's see, I'll get a hand drum with this one. We want to feel like a tree. So planting the feet on the earth and really feel yourself breathing up from your own rootedness and the support of the earth underneath. And bring the breath up to your center and out, and bring it up to your heart, out through your hands, bring it through the palms and fingertips. Breathe it down and breathe it up from the earth all the way out through the top of your head. And imagine yourself as that conduit of the sky and the earth energies combined. And I'll sing it through a few times so we can do it together. Standing like a tree with my roots dug down, my branches wide and open. Come down the rain, come down the sun, come down the fruit to the heart that is open to be standing like a tree with my roots dug down, my branches wide and open. Come down the rain, come down the sun, come down the fruit to the heart that is open to be standing like a tree with my roots dug down, my branches wide and open. Come down the rain, come down the sun, come down the fruit to the heart that is open to be standing like a tree with my roots dug down, my branches wide and open. Come down the rain, come down the sun, come down the fruit to the heart that is open to be standing like a tree.
Yeah. Wow.
Thank
Kiddush.
you. Thank you. So, Jonathan, would you introduce this Kiddush? And somebody is going to, from this assembled mass, a holy being is
Yes.
going.
Let's. Who would like to say the Kiddush? Who would like to say it? I'm offering this up. Who would like to say Kiddush? Just quick.
I'll do it.
All right. I believe that was Susala I heard. We're going.
That's Susala? Okay, yeah. So. Hine himuchan umzuman. Hine mimuchan umzuman. Hine mimuchan umzuman. Kayem et mitzvah shel Tubishvat.
Baruch HaShekinah Eloteinu ein ha'ayim borei peri ha Shafin Hashem. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. And this is a drink that is all
white.
All white. Yeah.
Oh, I messed it up. I'm going backwards in true trickster.
Think winter. All white. Think winter. That is a season associated with the earth.
All right, and we're going to travel into the world of Yetzira, and that brings us to Rabbi Leah Novick, Yom Huledet Sameach, our honored guest.
We are in the world of Yetzira, which translates as formation, as in forming the being in the womb, the emerging being. And so because the world of Yetzira is sort of dreamlike and very much about love and relationship, I ask myself for this Tubishvat, what is my relationship to the divine? What is my relationship to the planet, to other people, to the animals, to the stones? And so I looked at the Sfirot and how the light energy descends. And it felt to me like we have this great honor.
I'm
I'll
send I'll email it to you. It's not a big deal.
Excuse me. Please.
Leia, you're muted now.
Should I continue? Rabbi Seidenberg came on.
Yeah, you were saying this great honor.
That we have this great honor that the divine flow of the spiritual, the intellectual, and the emotional coming down from Keter, Chochmah, Bina, and eventually moving into the emotional and the active, into Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferet, that all of it is coming to rest in the sphere of Malchut, after it goes through Yesod, that all the light, all the drama, and all the vitality of the divine system seems to have been designed for us, for you, for me. I imagine how the light travels down and it blesses us with grace and loving kindness, with discernment and love. We as humans translate that into effort and gratitude and justice for society. But ultimately, all of these sfirot are filling the earth with the species, the forms, the colors of life, with all its variety. It is as if the divine creator was planning this all so that we and the other creatures on earth would be able to enjoy it, appreciate it, sing to it, and express our gratitude and our praise. And so here we are, living at a time of global warming, where our actions and our lifestyle have become a threat to the very planet that we think of as the goal and the culmination of human and divine effort. Here we are, mistreating our home and wondering, will our planet be destroyed because we have been so captivated by our lives of convenience that we were not ready to take appropriate action? So I ask myself, if I am in this loving relationship with the divine, with the planet, with the people, the animals, the plants, the rocks. The Ari said that everything is filled with Shekhinah, the Domeh, the standing rocks, Hatzameach, the plants and flowers, HaBehemah, the animals, and HaMedaber, the humans. What sets us apart is the culture we create and the language that we create. So if we take ourselves to be in longing for a loving relationship with it all, how will we at this time open our hearts and the heart of the world so that we each know what our role is in sustaining the planet? We who live here most of the time in Malchut, we have forgotten to look back up. You know, when our father Jacob sees the Sulam L'Shamayim, the angels are not just coming down, they're going up and coming down. We have forgotten to look up to the place of Yetzirah, to the romance with the divine, to the place of Berea, to the place of divine thought, of intellect. Every morning when we daven, we thank God for giving us a share of the Chokhmah, Bina, and Dot, that those are part of us. We have forgotten to look up as much as we have been grounded in the notion of what Jonathan called the transcendent God. We've been forgetting that we need to look up, and that our work here is not just to enjoy what we have, but not to get carried away with it. It is to remember how our relationships impact on the planet. It is to remember how we use our minds and our thoughts to be more thoughtful and careful about the untruth and the paranoia that's been circulating. And we have forgotten how to look up at the light and give praise, give thanks. The whole basis of tefillah is to be in gratitude and in praise. When we sing, when we pray, when we dance, when we create, we are empowering the angels. We are giving the power back to the Divine One. And so I ask you, as we take this short breakout, if we would each spend a few moments with the inner self, with that beautiful self that sits in your heart, to ask for direction, to ask for illumination, to ask for guidance. What is it that I am called upon to do now? Each of us has shlichut. We have an assignment. Our soul was sent here with direction, with guidance. So we ask on this beautiful and joyous Tubishvat that the fruit of our being together should be an expanded chokhmah, an expanded wisdom, an expanded bina, expanded insight, so that the energy that comes down can be sent back up in its most expanded, its most revered, and its most precious form.
Okay, it looks like everyone's going to be put into breakout rooms, so I'd like you all to notice being invited and accept the invitation. And I think we'll be in there for about 5 minutes, yes? Is that right, Jonathan?
Yes, and Reb Leah, could you repeat the invitation for people to talk about in a sentence?
It's for us to help each other in these breakout groups, which are brief, to focus on what it is that we are being called to do. And that can be as a community or as individuals or as renewal Jews, however you want to frame it. Is there something now that we can see that is beyond where we have seen before? Something that comes from the love of the creation.
Okay, great. I'm going to open all the rooms now. So please join as you're invited.
If I could be brought into another room, there is no one in room 15. I was all by myself.
Hi, I just put you in a different room, actually. Do you see yourself in going to a different room?
I haven't seen the invitation yet, no.
Okay, let me see. It says not joined. You're in room 14 and it says not joined. So do you see a invitation or something that to click on there?
I do not. Sorry.
What kind of device are you using?
I'm on a computer. I can actually, yeah, I can
Well,
see
I'm
it.
going to try moving you to another room and maybe you'll get a different pop-up, okay?
Thank you so much.
Here we go.
There we go.
If anyone here is still here in the main Zoom room who wants to go to a room, or maybe if you have an invitation on your screen and you want to accept it, let me know if you need my help. Hey, hello, everybody who just joined us. I think that's Naomi. We're in breakout rooms right now. We've got a lot of people in our different breakout rooms, and everybody will be back in a few minutes. So, Naomi, if you'd like to be put into a breakout room with people, let me know by speaking up, and I'll put you in there. But it's going to be everybody coming back pretty shortly.
Oh. Hello. Oh, can't hear you. Are you?
I said that we're all coming back now. The breakout rooms are closing.
Yeah, I'll do.
I accidentally came back before it closed.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome back.
Welcome. I'm going to do an olive song. Atse Zaytim Om Dim. Atse Zaytim Om Dim. Moshe, you know this. Atse Zaytim Om Dim. Atse Zaytim Om Dim. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Atse Zaytim Om Dim. Sorry, you know this. Om Dim. Atse Zaytim Om Dim. Atse Zaytim Om Dim. Ya Atse Zaytim Om Dim. Atse Zaytim Om Dim. Atse Zaytim Om Dim. Remember that one?
Yeah.
That's from my childhood. The olive Fran, Fran probably has an updated version of that song. Fran,
All the trees are standing.
Yes, they're standing. I mean, as long as they don't get ripped down and tore down. Fran, you probably have a
You're not
song
even
for that.
mention it on Tubishvat.
Is Fran here? Fran, are
Fran's
you
here? Fran probably wrote a new song
I
for that.
seem to remember Rabbi Sarah doing an awesome version.
Yeah.
Is she going to do that tonight?
Maybe she's going to do the other one, the trees, or the Psalm song.
If there's time at the end for songs, we have lots of people with lots of songs. So people who want to stay at the end and do songs,
We're gonna have lots of tree songs.
We can do that. I know, Reb Leah, I believe that you had a chant to close out your teaching. Yes. You're muted right now, so why don't you unmute yourself?
Yes, Reb Leah.
Can you unmute yourself?
I had it in the chat, but it disappeared. So there's a song called, that's actually tefillah, called Mamale Kol Olmin, where we say that God surrounds all worlds and fills all the worlds. Mm-hmm. And without God, there is no world at all. Fran, do you know it?
I do, but I'm listening to you at your feet.
I'm going to sing it, but I'm sure you'll do it better. Mamale kol omin, v'sovev kol omin, umivaladecha Ein shum metziut klal. Shekhinah fills all worlds and surrounds all worlds. And Yah, without you, there is no world at all. So what we find out when we study, when we work with the tree of life, is that all of the worlds are essential and all of them flow one into the other. And each one is of great importance. And it is not a hierarchy, it is a spiral. And it is a process that we can feel, that we have, as humans, have a tendency to separate. And even the great Mekubalim had to separate things in order to teach. But that separation is no longer that useful. And we're entering a time where we're going to be able to go beyond all the separations and to really experience and feel the other beings so that we won't be able to damage them. We're not quite there yet, but it feels to me like this very simple expression in the tefillah, Mamale kol olmin, you fill all worlds. V'sovev kol olmin, and you surround all the worlds. Umivaladecha, without you, ein shum metziot klal. There's nothing there without you. God, Yah, Shekhinah, whatever name you call the Divine One. We are finding out that our ancestors used so many more names. The great Kabbalists used so many names. There are names for God in each sphira. And however we call out, it's to bring it all together and to unify it, for us to be that intermediary between heaven and earth, that we are part of that channeling. We are part of that stairway to heaven. And so I just hope that we can all take in the bracha tonight to feel our way towards the unification.
Amen.
Man.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you, dear teacher, and happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
So let's drink to that. If folks would fill their glass or
You can mix it too. A little bit of red in there.
Yeah. White and a drop of red. And is there someone who would please lead the blessing? Go ahead, and I see Sharon raising a no. Go ahead, unmute yourself and lead us in the blessing, please.
Pinchas, yeah?
Ready? Yes, Rabbi.
Go ahead.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Ruach Haolam Borei Peri Hagafen.
Amen.
So, in this world inspired by what we are called to do, in a moment, Suzla is going to introduce some Tikkun Olam actions that you can actually take while we're doing this Seder. So, while I'm going to say the blessing over the fruit it has an edible outside and a hard inside, and Suzla will forego eating hers for a moment while showing us some Tikkun Olam possibilities that are very simple to do. So you can, to slow down into tree time a little bit, you can savor the fruit, or you might take that into action and follow along with Suzla. Bruchat Shekhinah Lotenu Ruach HaOlam Borei Peri HaAretz. Suzla, unmute yourself, please.
Happily. So I just put in the chat, we have 2 opportunities for Tikkun Olam. Whenever JeWitch Collective is involved in an event, we make sure to have a Tikkun Olam project. One of them is donating to plant trees, both in on the West Bank and in Jerusalem, I think. So one in Israel and one in Palestine. And it's done by TRUA, Rabbis for Human Rights. And if you donate $36, you can get a certificate sent to yourself or your favorite justice seeker or an organization. So all that information is there. And the other one is about preserving a redwood forest. So it's a little closer to home for those of us who are in California. And we're being asked to sign a petition, and the link is in the chat, to help preserve 20,000 acres of redwood forest by supporting the creation of a Mendocino Coast Redwood Forest Reserve. And there's a lot more details at the link in the chat. So I encourage you to either do both or one of those things. Yeah, so Tikkun Olam for the trees.
Priscilla, do we have to live in California?
Absolutely not. You can do it from anywhere. Great question, Miriam.
All right, thank you so much, Susala. And that's going to take us into the third world of Bria. And Rabbi Jonathan, will you please lead us? And Judith, Kate, sure. You're on deck. Just one thing, we've entered into tree time. We're going to probably end around 9 o'clock for those of you who are wondering how we're going to fit 2 more worlds into 10 minutes. So thank you for flowing with us as we slow down.
We're gonna have a little more time at the end for sharing and songs and hanging out too. I wanted to share my experience of Bria with my dad, Alav Shalom. My dad would take us to wilderness areas and have us slow down and pay attention to trees. He was a forester. We made a living by cutting down trees. How ironic, he would take us to wilderness and he would have us breathe with the trees, my dad. So I'd like us to breathe here on Zoom, is to breathe. I learned this as a child when he took me into the wild and said nothing, because my dad's religion was in the trees and the wilderness. And I got a little bit of that. I know a lot of you in this room are like that in your heart, and that's where you find solace. So let's breathe with the trees as we pay attention in Bria and the creation that comes through us through breathing. Or Vipa Canyon, another place that's so powerful, Arizona, all these different topo zones and biomes that we live in. Let's breathe into those places now indigenously. We're all indigenous somewhere. And let's just breathe into Bria and take a few moments to pay attention. We can close our eyes or not and just breathe. Pay attention to your breath and clear tonight with our planet, with our mother. Go deeply into our breath. And breathe out the week. Breathing in Tubishvat, Yah Bishvat, Yah Bishvat, Yud Hey, Yah. As we go through all the worlds that are fluid, interchangeable, transcendent and immanent in the same moment. Eitz chaim hi lemachazikim ba vetom hecha meoshar dirachecha darchei noam v'kol netivotecha shalom ashivenu havayav v'nashuva Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem. May we be renewed through the earth, through our mother, through our divine Father, all the worlds renewing us today on Tubishvat.
Man. Oh,
So
man.
we're Bria.
So in this world of meditation and mindfulness, connecting us to the generations, Judith Kate is going to lead a song. I'm going to post the words in the chat. Are you there, Judith Kate?
I am, but I was having a little time with the mute function. Let's see. Are you hearing me all right? Jonathan?
Yes, great. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. So this is a, oops, I have to not put that in front of the camera. This is a song that was composed in a group of people, and some of you might know the wonderful chants of Lawrence Cole, along with Daniel Deerdorf, of blessed memory, and also myself, and Pinchas was in the room, and he's here. We just heard him do one of the blessings. And several others in our community who work with the organization that I founded, Songwriting Works, that has brought a lot of elders and intergenerational projects together musically. Those who were behind the scenes decided they wanted to write a song together ourselves. And so Lawrence said he had been kicking around this idea of how do you write a song about a nurse log? And it seems like it follows the redwoods and the Tikkun Olam around the redwoods, and what Rabbi Leah just posted with the prayers for the redwoods on the Big Sur, in the Big Sur area and everywhere. This is about the recycling of life from the falling of the tree to the nurse log. It becomes. And it has a chant in the center of it: transition, disintegration, transformation, celebration. It seems more and more poignant to me that this song exists in the world. So feel free to sing it in your lives if you want to take it. There's a video of it online. And in this time of grief and yet hope, it seems really important. So here we go. Like an ancient tree in the forest, give your soul to the ground, ring your story down the ages, let us hold your healing sound. Transition, transition, disintegration, disintegration, transformation, transformation, celebration, celebration, transition, transition, disintegration, disintegration, transformation, transformation, celebration. Nurse the new ones arising. From age to age, their roots will find your fertile core. Reach to the far generations. Oh, remember who you are. Transition, disintegration, transformation, celebration, transition, transition, disintegration, disintegration, transformation, transformation, celebration, transition. Fall like an ancient tree, give your soul to the ground, bring your story down, let us hold your healing. Transition, disintegration, healing fall like an ancient tree. Give your soul to the ground, bring your story down. Let us hold your healing sound. Let's hold the healing sound inside ourselves and in our field together and in the large field of the world that we can feel all the trees within.
Yeah. Woo.
So now, thank you, Judith Kate. So now we are going to transition to eating our fruit that can be eaten entire, and it will disintegrate in our body and integrate within our own bodies, transforming us. As we transform the fruit, it transforms us. We become part tree, and thus we will celebrate. So look at this fruit that you're going to eat, and going to just guide us through some eating thereof. So I invite you to put this fruit or a mouthful in your mouth. Don't swallow it yet. Put it in your mouth, feel it, notice it. Now, right now it's touching your mouth. It hasn't become integrated into your body. Can you say the blessing with this fruit as part of yourself, right? Borei pri haAretz, borei pri haAretz. Brucha at Shekhinah. And how does it sound? How does it feel to be saying this prayer? Not over the fruit, but around the fruit.
It disappeared into my body already.
Eloteinu ruach haolam borei pri haAretz.
Amen.
Feel it. Taste the feel of the chew, feel the taste. It's now in your body. And feel how already your saliva has started to transform it. And molecules, even before you put it in your mouth, molecules of its fragrance entered your body through your nose. This tree whose life blood, life sap nurtured a fruit. That tree is now reincarnating as you, as part of your body. We are tree. Integration, transformation, alchemy is happening within us at all times. And is there a way, perhaps, going forward that the tree that is in you will express itself, and you, maybe through your compost, your urine, perhaps will become part of another tree? Let's celebrate. Mostly red, some white, and someone will unmute themselves and lead the blessing.
Who would like to lead the bracha? Somebody? Somebody lead the bracha.
I'll do Beret Priya Guffin, but I don't have any wine.
Well, you have to have wine. Who's got the wine in front of them to do the mitzvah? Shoshana? Lorelei?
I have wine.
Go ahead, go for it.
I've had apparently a lot of wine because it's not Shabbos, it's the middle of the weekend, yet I'm drinking.
We place no limits on your wine drinking tonight, folks. And if you want to sneak a whiskey in there for Tubishvat,
I'm enjoying this wine very much. So this is mostly red and some white.
Okay.
I don't normally even mix colors, but here we are. It's a special occasion.
What about a certain weed from the earth? An herb?
Oh, an herb. What's the place of the weed on the Tubishvat Seder table?
That's a good question, and we'll have to examine that. We'll have to examine that closely because
what's the
surely
halacha
it is
about
part
that?
of. It
That,
is part
that
of
question has been answered in the chat.
Okay.
Oh,
Really? Okay, we'll have to look.
Okay, here comes the Kiddush.
All right.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Miriam Kanani, are you still on?
Yeah.
I saw you come
Hi.
on. Excellent. Hi. Just because we weren't able to communicate in the chat, we'll have some transparent process. Can you hang on for a little while to do your song?
Yeah.
And then David Seidenberg, Rabbi David.
Excellent. Yes. So just making sure that she can be here. And we're up to David Seidenberg in the Fourth World of Atzilut Samadhi, neohasid.org, a wonderful teacher and being of earth-based Judaism. Please grace us with wisdom.
hello, everyone.
Hello.
I am going to probably want to share screen in a second. And I want to talk first about what the levels mean in the scientific sense. Because even though the Kabbalists thought of this in terms of klipot and nitzotzot, there's a very practical and true meaning for the levels of the fruit that will be obvious as soon as I say it, which is also extraordinarily spiritually deep. So that simple framework is that we are going up in levels of symbiosis with the trees as we go up in the levels of the fruit. Yeah. So the first level are the fruits that when we eat them, mostly nuts, but not only, we are destroying and consuming the seed. So once that seed is consumed, it's gone. It will not become a tree. We help the trees in other ways. We plant them because we like to eat those fruits. If you're a squirrel, maybe you bury some acorns and you leave them there and you don't get them back. But mostly we are consuming and destroying the seeds, the future lives of those trees. It's fine. It works out evolutionarily speaking, but it's not the highest level of symbiosis. The next level with the pits, we don't destroy the seed. We don't eat the seed. Maybe we carry it somewhere and that helps the tree. Maybe we plant it because we like that fruit. So it's a little bit closer to a full symbiosis, full, complete, equal relationship. And Bria, of course, where we can eat the whole fruit, means that we're eating and swallowing the seed, which most importantly means we're pooping out the seed. And that is a very high level of symbiosis because we're not just using our minds to say, okay, well, we'll plant it here, we'll do agriculture. It's not dependent on anything except the fact of our bodies. And in a way, it's a much deeper level of symbiosis because it doesn't depend on anything but our simple nature. Yeah. So that's the level of Bria. Now, the level of Atzilut is the level of breath and smell and things like this. So it's a whole different meaning of symbiosis on that level because as you may know, the statement in the Talmud, some of you will know, is that when a person breathes, they breathe from deep inside. So that breath itself carries the inner self, the innerness of a person. And this breathing, which is the level of Atzilut, is such that it's not just that there's a symbiosis between all things. You know, we like to say, Reb Arthur likes to always talk about how the plants breathe out carbon dioxide and oxygen and breathe in carbon dioxide and us vice versa. But it's more than that. It's that there's no division between one breath of one creature and the breath of another creature. All the breaths are a single breath moving in and out of all the beings. This is what Ruach is. This is the meaning of Ruach and why it's considered divine in our tradition, is the breath that moves between all bodies. And as it comes into the body, it becomes called a neshama. And that's the difference between Ruach and neshama. So this neshama that we breathe out from our innermost, and it comes into play along with all the other innermost cells of every being, not just other human beings. It's all mixed together, it's all interlaced. And that's it's such a pure level of symbiosis that it's not even possible to identify which at one point is giving and which at one point is receiving, because it's all happening at the same time. So that's the level we're at now. Thinking about this symbiosis is a way to understand how the Seder fits into science, but also on the deepest level, how it fits into spirit. And of course, spirit is again breath. So this is not news for the Kabbalists. They didn't specifically talk of symbiosis. And they thought more about the spiritual things, the things we do with our minds and souls, yeah, as opposed to the things that we do with our bodies. So what does that mean? It means that we had to eat the fruit in order to bring the blessing. So it involves our bodies, but it only happens, according to the Kabbalists, according to the Kabbalistic Seder, the first one, the Priyat Seder, it only happens if we bring the right intention. It only happens if we bring the right amount of soul into it. Really, the right amount of self from deep inside. And that's the goal of every blessing we make during Tubishvat. What's true, though, is that this happens whether we're conscious of it or not. That we're all part of one giant organism, which is this planet. And that the health of one is the health of all. I know this is not news to any of you. And that this is something that all of us think about quite a bit. We're getting an echo. Does someone know what that is coming from?
Maybe it's me.
I think the Aquarian Minyan, yeah, that helps it. That was it. I don't know who that was, but that's fixed it. Thank you. Okay, back to where we were. You all following me still? You got me? Got you?
We are with you.
Good. Okay. Well, this thing about pooping out the seed is also from deep inside ourselves. So it's a kind of a funny way to think about how the two levels intermesh. So Bria goes deep inside ourselves, that deep symbiosis, but it comes through our digestive tract, not from our lungs. It's interesting because there are different kinds of symbiosis and they're always happening all the time, also through our skin, also through our eyes and our ears. There's so many different levels of interweaving of being that we're part of, all of which unite us with the creatures around us, each of which unite us with the creatures around us in unique ways and in diverse ways, so that we have constantly thousands of relationships going on with the beings around us. And if you want to count the bacteria, billions of relationships with the beings around us. Yeah. So I want to show you where this kind of fits into the Kabbalistic framework. So for that, I'm going to share the screen. And what we're going to do is an abridged, I'm going to hang on a second, an abridged version of, there we go, of the original Tubishvat blessing. So this is coming from Priyat Hadar. It's abridged a fair amount. And it also, the language has been changed just a little bit to make it a little easier to understand and a little easier to flow. But you see, it really is about symbiosis in the deepest level. Now I want to say, for this particular version you're looking at, I realized as I came onto the call that I'd left out a whole phrase in Hebrew that belongs there. So it's missing in the Hebrew and it's only in the English. Most of it's the same. There's a little bit that's missing from the Hebrew. I'm going to read and explain the English, and then I'm going to go and read the Hebrew so that we could say Amen. In between, I'll give you a chance to ask questions about this prayer, okay? Or to make commentaries that you want to share. So, O God, who makes, forms, creates, and emanates. You know, of course, this is the four levels of the world: making, or doing, forming or shaping, creating, and emanation. Those are the 4 levels of the world. So we're going up from making to emanation. O God, who makes, forms, creates, and emanates the spiritual worlds, you created their model on the earth below so that this creation would be joined together as one to become a holy Mishkan, a temple. This is very important. The original Seder just says to be joined together as one, and it doesn't say to become a holy Mishkan or temple. The reason that I know that's what it means is because that is a verse about the building of the Mishkan, Exodus 36:18, that the author is quoting. So I've added to become a holy Mishkan temple so that people understand that, because we do not know all the references and intertextuality that they did. You made trees and plants grow from the ground in their shape and pattern above, and from them we learn supernal wisdom. In other words, because the world we live in mirrors the highest invisible realms, we can understand the nature of divinity by understanding the world around us. And this is a gift given to us and given to the whole world by Hashem, by the Creator. So that gift has 2 effects. One, that it enables us to understand the deepest realities, and 2, because of the mirroring of higher and lower worlds, all things can be woven together into a single being. That being is in the image of God, this whole creation. So that means the trees and plants are in their shape and pattern above, which again means the image of God, and from them we learn supernal wisdom. Upon them you drip the flow of divine energy. And this moon is the beginning of your work to renew and ripen the trees. For so will be filled the days of ripening the tree, the fruit of the supernal tree, the tree of life in the midst of the garden. Okay, I want to point out to you that here we're talking about the tree of life, and at the end of this blessing, we're going to be talking about the tree of knowing, or the tree of knowledge. So there are 2 trees in the garden, and we ate from one, and we picked the wrong one to eat from back in Gan Eden, right? Or we ate it too soon. We're supposed to eat the tree of life first and then the tree of knowledge later, after it became ripe. But we didn't. So now we have a problem of getting the fruit tree, the supernal fruit tree, to get ripe in the way it's supposed to be. So that's the tree of life in the midst of the garden will become ripe, and then through that, the whole creation will become ripe for what it's supposed to be. Now here comes the ask of the prayer. What we read up to now is just a statement about how the cosmos works. And it's a statement about some levels of symbiosis, but now here we're going to talk directly about the symbiosis between us at the Tubishvat Seder and the trees. May it be your will that our eating and blessing of these fruits now, and our meditating over their roots above, should arouse their spiritual sap, Sirafehen ha'elyonim, and make the flow of love and blessing and pure gift, Shefa Ratzon Bracha Unedava, flow upon the trees to make them grow and bloom for good and for blessing, for good life and for peace. Everything we could ask for. Well, not really. There's more. There's more to ask for, because that's enough to ask for if we just want to survive and thrive as a species. But we want more than that on Tubishvat. We want the whole creation to survive and thrive. We want the trees to survive and thrive, but it's not just because they feed us. It's because we want the whole creation to be fixed. And that's what the last paragraph is about. May the whole of creation return now to its original strength. This is a stunning statement for me, because what it means, its original strength, all the things that we've done to the earth, all the things that civilization does to eliminate the forests, to turn places into landfills, all the kinds of things that you think about, to shear mountaintops in order to mine coal, all these kinds of things are sapping, not in the good sense of sap, draining, right? The original strength of creation. Every extinction drains the original strength of creation. And now we're praying that that should be fixed and returned. You can't pray this if at the same time you're just going and destroying everything else in your spare time when you're not saying this particular prayer. Otherwise, the prayer is falsehood. Yeah. So the whole of creation, may our blessing the fruits help the whole creation return to its original strength, and may the rainbow appear rejoicing and glorified in its colors. I'm going to come back to this in a second, the rainbow. It's a very important point. This last line is the line that is the big ask. Complete healing, Mashiach Zeit, everything coming to its right, just, hopeful, and beautiful conclusion. May all the sparks of divinity scattered by our hands, or by the hands of our ancestors, or by the trespass the first human committed against the fruit of the tree, be returned to be included in the majestic might of the tree of life. So the might of the tree of life means the Sefirot, but it also means the evolutionary tree of life. That has been, we've been lopping off branches left and right. This last line implies that we can fix not only our own sins, but the sins of our ancestors. This is a big claim. That we could even fix the first sin, the very first sin, which is against the tree of knowing. If we can fix that sin, that will also create the space for the tree of life to become ripe as it should. And for everything to be included in, I love this phrase, the majestic might of the tree of life. Now I said I wanted to return to the rainbow, so I wanted to do that for 1 second. Then I'm going to stop sharing the screen so we can have a little discussion, and then we'll go back and we'll say the prayer in Hebrew. Okay, so this appearance of the rainbow in the prayer is very interesting because in Kabbalah in general, despite the beauty of rainbows, rainbows are considered a curse. And the reason why is because when God makes a rainbow, it means, in the Kabbalistic way of thinking, that God had been thinking about destroying the world at that moment and needed to be reminded not to destroy it. And so the Zohar says that in the whole time of the life of Shimon Bar Yochai, the rainbow never appeared because he was the rainbow. He himself was a sign enough to God to stop any destruction of the world. But the Pri-Eitz Hadar, the author of this work, the first Tubishvat Seder, they were going against the idea of what the Kabbalah had said about the rainbow before. And they're saying, no, actually, beauty is paramount. And we're not going to undermine the beauty of the rainbow with some mythology. And now, Nirata HaKeshet is actually a phrase that's a quote from the Noah story. So it's not that they didn't mean the Noah story, that they didn't have it in mind, but that they understood the rainbow appearing as a celebration of creation and not a threat against creation. Which tells you something about the optimism of the person who wrote this. Their belief that we really could fix the world. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing the screen for a second now and give people a chance to ask questions if you have.
Reb David,
Yes.
Questions and answers would be great to do at the end, but we're coming near the end of our time. So if we could move to the blessing and then we'll have some songs and we can have more discussion. It'd be wonderful to do that with you.
Yeah, but
I'm not sure if I'm going to be on until the very end because it's
I thought
almost
we would
midnight.
take advantage of a couple of questions that he could answer while he's still here, because it's very late for David. Okay, couple of questions. Key comments or questions.
David.
Yeah.
David, I want to ask, can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so regarding the Keshet and the rainbow, this makes me think about the tribe of Binyamin, which is Keshet, which is the month of Kislev, and Keshet is the bow, right? It's the bow, but the tribe of Binyamin fulfilled like a very interesting role in all of the tribes of Israel in terms of causing a great civil war and then being the instrument of unification after that. And Binyamin is the location of the Kodesh Kodeshim, the Holy of Holies, the little part of the Holy Temple where the cherubim, the Keruvim, meet each other. And that is what I think of when because there's so much about this holiday that's, I'm going to say, astral magical symbolism, if you want to talk about it on that level, but on a more Peshat level of talking about the tribes and their archetypal modalities within our whole story, to have the keshet, the bow, the rainbow, and of course, Benjamin's flag was the rainbow flag. That's the most important part, which I forgot to say. The flags of all the tribes are described in great detail in the Midrashim, and Benjamin's flag was like a rainbow flag. It contained all of the other colors of all of the other tribes, just like the Holy of Holies is the one place of unity within all of the Am Yisrael, and in fact, the whole world. The entire creation is unified in that space that is represented by that rainbow flag, which is the keshet. So I think that that goes to the shorish neshama of the, the root of the soul root of this idea about the rainbow.
Great. Yeah. And you're bringing in a lot of knowledge that I'm not so familiar with. Thinking about.
I want to.
Does anyone have any particular comments about
any comments about
questions about the text
Perry,
of the prayer?
I'm going to go back to the earliest part of your sharing, and you talked about each level of the Seder fruits being one higher level of symbiosis. So this notion of symbiosis is a fairly new concept in science. This sense that both species, there's mutualism is kind of at the core of symbiosis, that both benefit. So I'm wondering, as you understand the Kabbalists, what was the language they used? Because symbiosis wasn't there at that time. So.
Well, we just heard the language in that prayer. Yeah. Does anyone else want to answer that question? I'm not sure if there's there probably are several vocabulary terms. Anything that involves reuniting the sparks with the whole of creation is this idea of the symbiotic relationship between us and the world.
My comment is,
can you tell us more about fixing original sin?
Well, can I answer the last question, Alan?
I think, and I want to say, hang on a second, Jonathan. Okay. I think that's going to take us too far afield. I want to take questions that keep us focused on the prayer and its meaning, and those other questions which are deep, profound, long metaphysical questions. I don't think we should do them now, partly because it's so late for me, and partly because I don't want to lose our kavana about the prayer, and partly because I want you guys to get to sing some songs before you poop out. Speaking of poop.
So we're going to conclude that. Perry and David, I wanted to talk about the angels for 30 seconds. Some of the bruchas involve having the angels come and appoint themselves over the plants. So there's a symbiotic relationship between the angel, the malach, and the plant, Perry. So that's how they talked about it. And the Iranians in ancient Iranian religion talked about specific daiwas. So there's a symbiotic relationship of conjuring energies with the right intention in a bracha that brings to Shefa into symbiotic relationships. So David's wonderful talk, it was already anticipated in their language, but not exactly, because we're evolving language. That's how I understand it, with angelic energies. So I'll leave it at that, and we should conclude there. Okay, Rabbi Jonathan Furst. So thank you for your patience, and Miriam, Connell, and everybody else. Thank you for your patience. Thank you, David Seidenberg, Rabbi David, our teacher, our friend. Thank you. Beautiful.
So, David, do you have a blessing you're going to lead us in?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're muted, David. Yeah. No, you're muted again now. Can you unmute?
There we go. Sorry. I just sent Ricky.
Oh, hey, you're muted again. Don't hitting the button.
Okay, I'm unmuted. I'm unmuted, right?
Yes.
Okay, I was saying I just sent Ricky up to get the plug for my computer because it just decided it was going to poop out. Again, I can't seem to avoid that word. It's apparently. So here we're going to read this blessing, and I haven't reincorporated the missing Hebrew phrase into here, so we're just going to go with it as it is. Okay. Ana ha'el. I want you all to get ready to make this the kavana for your Seder, to pray that these blessings do come into the world because of what you've done this evening. Ana ha'el ha'oseh b'hayotzer והבורא והמאציל עולמות עליונים. ואילנים ודשאים מן האדמה הצמחת בקומתן ובצביונם של מעלה. לחבר את האוהל, להיות אחד, כאוהל המשכן. וזה הירח תחילת מעשיך להכניתם ולחדשם, כי כן ימלאו ימי חנותים בפירות האילן העליון. עץ החיים אשר בתוך הגן, the tree of life in the midst of the garden. May it be your will, Yehi ratzon milfanecha, Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, shebekoach segulat achilat haperot shenochal, because of the merit of our eating the fruit, v'nevarech aleihem atah, and blessing now, v'asher nehegeh besod shorshehem, and our meditations, yitoru serafehen ha'elyonim, l'hashpia aleihem, to make flow over them, shefa ratzon, beracha unidava, lahagdilam ulahatzmicham, l'tova, v'livracha, l'chaim tovim u'lishalom, v'yashuv atah hakol, le'etano harishon, v'nirata hakeshet sas u'mitpa'er begovanim, v'kol hanitzotzot shenitpazru al yadenu, o al yadei avotenu, uva'oz adam, uva'avon adam harishon, asher chata b'perot ha'ilan, ata yashuvu lehit kalel ba'oz hadar eitz hachayim. May all the sparks be included and returned and crowning the majestic might of the tree of life. Vin nomar.
Amen.
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 Thank
All
you.
right.
Wow.
Thank you so much, Reb David. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow.
You're very welcome. And you know, it's a very special pleasure to be with your community, with this community
Thank
that
you.
I have so many friends in. Thank you.
Bevakasha. We welcome you.
Amen. So here's what we've got coming up. Miriam Kanani is going to lead a blessing, take us into a song, and then Miriam Kanani is an amazing singer-songwriter and teacher, blessed to be with her in the Bay Area. And then Beth Abrams, who is 40 years experience in dance and healing, does bar classes still, and a longtime activist, is going to be leading some movement. We've had all this wonderful words and concepts and prayers, and we'll get into our bodies to kind of wrap us up in this time. So just as we had the blessing, now that we're in tree time, Miriam's going to help us savor the words of the blessing. She'll lead the song, then Beth, while Miriam is playing, please go ahead and lead us.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be with so many wonderful teachers this evening. We are now in the fourth world, the world of Atzilut, the world of pure divinity, the world of emanation, the highest of the worlds. And I'm going to help us bless the blessing of the fruit of the tree. And we're just going to savor the Hebrew tonality and each letter, each word in this blessing. So I'll have you just repeat after me. Brucha.
Brucha.
At. Shekhinah. Eloteinu. Ruach. HaOlam. Boret. Peri. HaAretz. Blessed are you, Shekhinah, goddess creatrix of the universe, who brings forth the fruit of the tree. And inspired by David Seidenberg's teaching, those prayers were so powerful. I want to do a quick song that I wrote based on a meditation I had in the Zohar. The song is in Aramaic and English, and it's called The Light of Creation. And it's meditating on the idea that, you know, when we look at the story of creation, there are two, the creation of the light, which comes on the first day, is 3 days before the creation of the sun and the moon and the stars. And so it was a big question, what was that light? So the song is exploring that.
Are you there?
Thank you, Miriam. Please keep playing music, and Beth will lead us in movement to go with this. Bring us near the end. Beth, please mute yourself.
So before we begin, I want you all to get into your tree head space. And this is kind of like Stanislavski dance. But just like actors become whoever they are, we're going to become trees. And some of the qualities of trees I want you to focus on in our movement is that trees actually have a way of communicating with each other. And one of the ways that they've discovered that happens is through the fungi in the soil, that there's a web where the roots connect to the fungi, and the fungi are like a network that convey the communication from tree to tree. And another thing I want you to think about is the sap that comes through, that is your blood. And it's sweet. And you can take the sap even and put it on wounds and it heals. And what else would you put on your pancakes besides maple syrup? So it's the sap that's sweet. And the other thing I would like you to think about is that the leaves of the tree actually have the plant equivalent of pheromones. And the scent travels through the leaves in the pheromones of the leaves, plant pheromones. And also I would like you to think about how the trees absorb the carbon and hold it and capture it, which we so much need right now. And they transform it into oxygen. So, and then the last thing I want you to think about is how in fire from many trees, the seeds are released. So we're gonna be thinking about that. And you don't have to copy my movements exactly, but just to think about this as I talk you through this and demonstrate a bit. So the first thing, while you're still sitting on your chair, and for those of you who don't wish to get up, you could do these movements from your chair or on the floor. If you have shoes,
Can you adjust your camera down just a little bit?
is that better? Okay, so the first thing is if you have shoes on, take them off. Okay, and then start circling your ankles as if you were the roots of the tree, nudging all the fungi. You're talking to all the fungi. You know, many of us go dancing to find a fun guy. Well, you're going to dance and find the fun guy. So wiggle your ankles and shake out your feet a little bit if they've gone to sleep. And move your feet on the floor a little bit to wake up your toes. Now you can get up if you want. Jonathan, is the screen still at a good angle?
Tilt it up just a little bit.
Okay. All right. So I want you to think about lifting up from your pelvic floor. Just like the tree is lifting up from the roots. Try and introduce your pelvic floor to your ribs. And take a breath, a big breath in. And exhale. And as you exhale, bend your knees a little bit. If you want to turn your feet out, that you can have them facing straight front. And now I want you to think about lifting your pelvic floor again as you bend your knees in the deepest knee bend that's comfortable for you, otherwise known as a plie. Come up and breathe. Do it again. So you're lifting up, the tree grows taller as the roots go deeper. You're going deep. And your sap is coming up the front stripe of your body. And do several more knee bends or plies, lifting up your pelvic floor and breathing. And just as the tree has rings, and as it gets older and older, it gets bigger, we're going to do a lot of circles. So we're going to start with our head and make some circles with our head, like the rings on the tree. And breathe, and then go the other way with your head. Nice and slow so you don't get dizzy, and you feel your neck and your breath. You circle your head, and then relax your head and circle your shoulders, like the rings on the tree. And let your arms be the branches that go with the circles. You're circling your shoulder and you're circling your arms. And bend your knees and lift your pelvic floor and come up and circle the arms. And bend your knees. Music is fine and nice. And now reverse the direction of the shoulders. And add the bending of your knees. Because trees bend. They bend and they give, and if they get too stiff, they break. So you want to oil your tree knees and make circles going the other way with your arms. And then we're going to combine these two movements. So you're going to circle your head, and then you're going to circle your shoulders, and then you're going to circle your arms, and then the head the other way, and the shoulders the other way, and circle your arms. And now you're going to circle your ribs. Circle your ribs, find your ribs. They had a big windstorm last night, and the trees had to really bend or they would break. Circle your ribs the other way. If it helps you can put your hands on your ribs and feel them. And within your ribs, just above is your heart. And then circle your hips. Circle your hips. And then circle your hips the other way. And then start to feel the fungi by lifting your feet in the air. So you're lifting your feet and stepping into the soil. The roots are going big. And when you do this, your branches start to sway. And maybe they make a circle. Maybe your arms make a complete circle. And maybe the circle goes the other way. And then we're going to put this all together. So you're going to circle your head. And you circle your shoulders. And you circle your arms. And you circle your ribs. And you circle your hips. And you move your feet so that you're stepping into the fungi and you're communicating with all the other trees in the forest. And you circle your head. And you circle your shoulders. And you circle your ribs. And you circle your hips. And you walk in the forest. Your roots go deep into the forest. And a fire is coming. And your hands start to shoot out the seeds. Shoot them out. Shoot them out. Plant more trees. Shoot them out. And the circle goes into your whole body, so you roll over. And curl up. The whole tree is circling and making more rings. And again, there's a fire, and you shoot out more seeds. And you shoot them up in the air. And you shoot them out. And you shoot them down. And you feel your pelvic floor and the sap coming up and over the top of your head and down the back. And you bend your knees. And you come up. And again, you lift your pelvic floor as you bend your knees. The roots are going deep. And you come up. Shalom.
Shalom. Thank you so much, Beth.
You're welcome.
And in celebration, this forest of trees, let us fill our glass with the final glass. And this time, we're going to be communicating through our fungal network. So even though when we unmute yourselves, we're all going to say the blessing at the same time. So even though the Zoom our voices will not be simultaneously, in the roots, the mycorrhizal fungal network through which we are connected on at least a spiritual level with each other, with everyone celebrating the Seder, with all the trees and all the plants, and therefore all life. We know that simultaneously we're going to be harmonizing so well. So please feel free to unmute yourself, lift a glass. And when I say shalosh, start singing. Chad, shtaim, shalosh.
Baruch Hashem
I am.
I am.
L'chaim.
So the wonderful Susla Kisper will re-put in the chat the links for Tikkun Olam. Thank you so much for the years and years of activism and the work to make Jewish Collective happen. And we're going to hand it over to Rabbi Jonathan to take us home.
Wow, what a journey. What incredible music. What integration of the worlds. And oh, wow. I'm utterly speechless about going through these worlds and the music. Thank you so much to all our contributors. We unify the worlds. What fruit symbolizes Atzilut, by the way, folks? How do we symbolize a world that transcends thought and object that is closer to Samadhi? Anybody have a suggestion? And did the Kabbalists actually symbolize Atzilut in any meaningful way with nuts or fruits? Anybody?
How about a cocoa pod?
Cocoa pod? Anybody have suggestions to symbolize Atzilut?
He said chocolate.
It said fragrance.
Fragrance.
Fragrance. Reach nichoach l'Hashem. So that transcended the olfactory. Yes, Ricky. Yeah, the olfactory, perhaps. They say that when you give off a good smell, reach nichoach, like in the Garden of Eden, samech tisamach reim ahovim kan Gan Eden, right? You give off a good smell when you do mitzvahs, when you do good in the world, when you are good, when you integrate the worlds in doing good. So we conclude tonight with smelling good, with Atzilus, and going beyond the beyond. I want to thank everybody that contributed. Ooh, good, a smell. And we have time for more music if you want to stay up, especially East Coast people like me right now. So this was a wonderful gathering. And Yehiratzon, let's gather together, just a nice breath. Yehiratzon milfanecha, Havaya Elokeinu. God and God of our ancestors, who rooted themselves in the earth and lived with trees, who became trees and trees became them, who lived in symbiotic relationship with trees and nuts and plants and fruits. May God bless us to protect our Mother Earth as we grow in Torah, as we grow in spirit, as we grow in intellect and courage to fight for this planet, to plant trees that are spiritual and physical trees, as we grow together to reclaim our country, those of us that are Americans, to reclaim our country, that it is rooted in democracy, demos, and the pandemos, all of us together can take back our country and root ourselves in democracy and peace and freedom and equality. Oh God, oh Shekhinah, help integrate the male and the female principles in heaven and on earth. And we all sprout forth with the wisdom that we are destined alone to give to the world. May we grow this in love for you, O Shekhinah, Havaya, Source, Makom, Makor. May we love each other with greater fervence and patience. We go forth from this Tubishvat encouraged and renewed. Amen.
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 Amen. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Yiratzon. So thank you all. Incredible contributions. Rabbi Leah, happy birthday. Judith, Kate, come back and see us with the Minyan. Rabbi David, it's always a pleasure. Incredible gift you are to the world in your teaching. Laurel, all of you contributed. Suzala, JeWitch Collective, Knesset haLev, all the, and even some collaborators. Miriam, it's so great to see you. I hope you come back. Everybody that contributed. Ricky, I hope you'll teach for us someday. Your wisdom is unique and beautiful. And oh my gosh, I hope you come teach and share for us too. Rabbi Ricky.
Amen.
Suzala. Oh, who else can we? Reb Sarah, you've got songs for us always. There you go, Reb Sarah. If you have a song to help us go out, you got a song for us? That great song, the tree song?
I have a perfect song to help
Yeah,
us
to go
go
out. So everybody, and thank you, Beth, for the embodiment tonight. What an incredible gathering of people. More to come. We're going to do Tubishvat Seder #2 very soon.
Yeah, that's called Purim. It's exactly 1 month from now.
It's actually the anniversary of COVID, right? The last thing we did together was a Purim party. So it's coming up on 1 year.
That's right. We're going to have our.
Can you believe it?
That's
Can you
right.
believe it?
Purim
I
is
can't
coming.
believe it.
It's unreal.
1 year since
And
we've been in this situation.
Thanks so much to Rabbi Jonathan for gathering this and bringing so many of these amazing people together, and for the teachings and the
You're
Kavanah.
very well. You're my
And
pleasure.
thank you
my
for
honor.
Jonathan Furst, Maggid
Jonathan
Jonathan
Furst.
Amen.
Yay. Fantastic teacher and leader, Maggid. We love you. We love you, my brother. Keep doing what you do.
Thank you. So this gathering was co-produced by Knesset haLev on Wednesday, February 17th. Yuval Ron is going to do Mystic Heart music on the Sefirah of Yesod. I'm going to put the link in the chat. You're invited to Knesset haLev Shabbat on Friday, February 19th. And I know Lorelei has events that she'll mention about upcoming Aquarian Minyan events.
Yep.
Would it be okay if Laura did her song first?
Yeah, you want to do the song first?
Let's keep in the song.
Do the song, Reb Sarah.
I think so.
Let's do the song and then the announcements. Okay.
Before Sarah, I'm just wondering if a Shehechianu is merited.
Okay, never mind.
But no, those.
I'm sorry.
Sarah, no, Sarah,
Not your fault. Not your fault.
Don't
Keep
worry
going.
about Judith Kate. There's always room for a Shekiatnu. Let's do it.
Yeah.
It's just about the fruits, you know? I just think that it
Right. I think you're right.
Absolutely. A Tubishvat Seder without that isn't done.
Okay, here we go.
Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam, Shechianu, V'kiyamanu, V'higianu, Okay.
Okay, now where'd Reb Sarah go?
Well, I don't know where she is. If she's here, I'd like her to come in, but she might not be here, so we'll move on. Are you here? Reb Sarah? Reb Sarah, no.
She is not.
She's left. Okay.
Go look at the participant list. That's
All
how
right,
you can
she's
tell.
left. She'll come back and do it another time. We'll go on to announcements.
Oh, we will? Okay, I didn't
Yeah,
realize.
if she's here, she can do the song. I'd love her to do the song, but she's not here.
Okay, well, maybe she'll come back. People come and go, you know?
Right,
That's how
right.
it works around here. Wasn't really prepared to make announcements, but I will just say that we have Shabbos services every Friday night at 7 o'clock Pacific time and every Saturday at 10 a.m. Saturdays. And I have had 4 cups of wine, so I don't really think it's fair for me to have to do the
You want
announcements.
me to download the announcements from your head, Lorelei?
Come to our yeshiva. We have great classes going on. We've got fantastic events happening. Everything is on our website, aquarianminyan.org. Please just go there and visit us and find out everything that's happening, since I'm apparently incapable of telling you the entire list right now. Thank you.
In vino veritas, truth comes out. But we celebrate everybody's birthday today, the birthday of the trees, Rosh Hashanah Ilanot. Rabbi Leah, my mother, as of right now, has turned 90 years old this moment at midnight. My mom just hit her 90th birthday. She's in bed. But I want to celebrate my mother's birth on January 28th, 1931. So we should all live to 90 and more and be healthy and see a healed planet. Yes, a healed planet, God willing. And our kids, what are we leaving to our kids? God willing, something better.
Amen.
Amen. So
Are
more-
we having after music? Because I have the recording still on and I was
we're
going
done with I think with that, but we have Fran Avni here. We have lots of people that know tree songs here in the room.
I would
Lots of
love to offer
very-
Shorashim.
Yeah, please, Shorashim. Fran Avni is here. I learned so many great songs from Fran over the years. Fran, if you could.
Okay.
Shorashim.
Do you
Yeah.
want to put the words or we just call and response?
Call and response, I guess. Oh my gosh, this song goes back. What a beautiful song. Oh my gosh.
The last time I did it all together was many, many years ago with Rabbi Leah and Diane and Sarah Leia at a Tubishvat Seder. I think it was haLev. This one connects us all. Roots, she cried. Oh, I am like a branch, a tree, leaving blossoms in the air, midway twixt earth and sky. And there hang I. What will hold me? Shorashim, Etz Chaim, Ben Adama Uven Shamayim, Ba'avir Tluya Ani Bayachzikoti Shorashim Etz Chaim, tree of life, Bein Adama, between the earth and the sky. Ba'avir in the air, Tluya Ani hanging there, Mayachzikoti, what will hold me? Mayachzikoti, Shorashim, Mayachzikoti, Etz Chaim, Mayachzikoti, Ben Adama, Uven Shamayim, Ba'avir Tluya Ani Mayachzikoti, 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 Shorashim.
Oh my gosh. Yay. We love you.
Beautiful.
Now I can go to sleep in snowy, freezing Montreal, where we have no vaccines in Canada.
Those of you that are on the East Coast, kol hakavod to you for staying up.
Yeah. Thank
Kol
you,
hakavod.
Fran. That was so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
Love you all.
Love
We have
Fran.
Sarah's back, a song. I'm up for it. If you're here, I'm up for that incredible. So we used to do that in Minyan all the time, Sarah.
What are you? Sarah's not here. Call her if you want.
She was. Nope, I guess not.
Good night, everybody. Happy birthday, Rabbi Leah.
Happy
birthday to your mom, Rabbi Jonathan.
Night, everybody.
Night.
Thank you so much.
Seid ihr alle gesund.
Thank you all.
Chag
It's
Sameach.
wonderful.
See you soon.
Bye.
Chag Sameach. Thank you, Jonathan and John.
Bye.
Nathan.
Deep breath. Thank you all.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Love you. Bless you.